that coincidence, and I'm not surprised.
Yes, me too. So, Pearl, tell me about this incredible festival. Now that I know it's local to me, I'm so excited about it.
I think that says it all. I mean, that's the whole reason we started the festival is I think people think, and they're changing, but for a good portion of time, the idea was that film was in the coasts mostly and some of the bigger cities in between. But I myself am from New York. You're based in LA, but you're also here in central Pennsylvania. So I think that's really what this festival is aiming at communicating, that there are ways to tell local Pennsylvania stories or local small town stories and still have resonance out. And all of these international films can have resonance in to what we go through here. And I came here in 2014. And as I was getting tenure, because I teach film at Penn State, I fell in love with this theater. And I thought, my goodness, this is where we should be positioning a film festival. And in only 3 years, it literally tripled in size, even during the pandemic. So we went virtual last year. So
Wow,
that's what's
that
happening. So this year it's in 3 theaters and online. And we went from 20 films the first year to 40 the second year, and now we're on 80. So we're going to keep you busy all week next week.
I am so excited. I'm here for it. And I think it's such a small world that you teach at Penn State, and I live 10 minutes from Penn State.
Love
It's
it.
just like, who would have known? That's incredible.
That's the point. That's literally the whole point. And we're bringing in about 20 filmmakers. So I want you to meet them. And they'll be here through the week. Our schedule is on the website, so you could see. But we'd love to have you. And we also have live Q&As online. If people can't or aren't comfortable with in person, or it's not healthy for them to be in person, they can do it online.
Beautiful. And without giving too much away, what kind of films can we expect to see at the festival?
So it's a festival, and so it shows kind of what's happening in independent film right now. It's a slice of the communications visually around the world today. So there's anything you can think of. There's animation, there's kids flicks, but there's also really intense subject matter like prison reform. And we're also looking at in documentaries that kind of feel good and have a Pennsylvania feel to them. One of them is the Automat, which actually started in Philly, right? The Horn and Hardart. And then of course it was one in New York, or a few in New York. And so that film just came out of Telluride this year, and we're showing it here for our 1920s evening. And we have a lot of films out of South by Southwest and Sundance, just to give people a sense of the films that are out there that maybe they don't see on Netflix and are just as powerful or impactful. So
Yeah.
that's what you can expect to see. Literally anything. We even have student films from around the world, like from Russia and Greece and Turkey. And then we have student films from the United States. We have high school films. So, and we like to focus on made in PA films. So if there's a little button you can click just to see what's been made in PA, and there's a number of films, including the Automat, that is.
Nice. And what got you involved in the film industry? Were you involved in film as when you were in college, or how did you get involved?
That's a really good question. So I got involved in the film festival because I'm a filmmaker, and I've been to so many festivals, and I knew I wanted to bring that here, and especially in a town like Phillipsburg, and now State College and Altoona. But how I got involved in film is actually through ethnography and storytelling. So I was collecting Yiddish stories in Hungary, and I was using a high-8 camera at the time to collect the stories. And this is before we all had cameras on our phones. And I was collecting these stories, and when I took the camera out, it became a performance art. People change, as we're used to it now because we're always doing selfies. But at that time in the 90s, in late 90s, it wasn't really like that. And so I just loved how people started to perform themselves and frame literally themselves. I mean, we're in frames all the time now. We're literally in a frame right now, but I just really loved that practice and that conversation we were having even before the camera got turned on, that it really drew me into the visual nature of storytelling and the different layers that you could tell stories in, from sound and music and movement, and not just dialogue and talking. So that's what got me into it. Most of my work is deeply autobiographical. I was raised in a Hasidic community. My films are about that, as being a woman of faith, and then leaving that world, and then, where do you negotiate your boundaries as a woman? And I've turned toward fiction now, but I'm still looking at very strong female characters through my work. So that's what speaks to me. And I think when we program our films for the festival, it really is about that level of authenticity. I think you're gonna love the lineup. I mean, obviously, I think that, but I think you're gonna love it because it's a fine mix of international or global narratives with a local concern. In other words, like their stories become ours and our stories become theirs. In other words, the human connection. So that was really not necessarily a theme, but it's what ends up happening when you're looking for films that speak a truth.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. And who are some of your favorite strong female characters that or
Ah,
people in real life that are strong females?
that's such a good question. I have a feeling you relate to this stuff a lot.
Yes, I do.
So, um, the first person that comes to mind usually is my great aunt, who's no longer with us. But she inspired me a lot. She was a survivor of the Holocaust, tough as nails, great sense of humor despite it all. And, always used to say, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry. So I think I'm going to choose laughing. And so that was a huge inspiration for me. And then from the writers, like people like Grace Paley, who's like an activist, but told personal stories. Like her biggest misquote, or maybe it is a quote, is that the personal is political. So like thinking of oneself as an activist just by living their truth. And gosh, there's so many. And in fact, our Lifetime Achievement Award is going to a woman that really fits this category. And I told her that too. When I met her, I said, you remind me of my great aunt. And I think I really love badass women that like just don't take no for an answer when they know they're doing what's right. And that's Madeline Anderson, who was the first Black female producer in the PBS area, but potentially television in general. And she was partially responsible, if not fully responsible, for bringing Morgan Freeman to the screen, because they cast him right off Broadway as one of the characters on what was it called? The Electric Company. And they had brought her on to make it more diverse and to do more outreach and have be more inclusive. And so she brought him in to play the easy reader to get kids to feel good about reading. And to this day, it's kind of a little bit of a claim to fame, but her activism is much more known, especially in the indie film world and in the labor activism world, for I Am Somebody, and another one called Integration Report 1. So she was just right there behind that camera and, and making it happen. She's
Beautiful.
getting our Lifetime Achievement Award because you know what? She's from Lancaster, PA.
Oh wow, that's
Yes.
incredible. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that area too. Haven't been there in a very long time, but I love that area.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually been to Lancaster, but I should go.
Yes, definitely
Should
you should.
absolutely go.
There's so many nice things to do there, and it's just it's a comfortable place. I know that sounds weird, but it's just like such a comfortable place to be.
I'll have to check it out.
And good shopping. Good
Maybe
shopping.
I can find a good historic theater there. She was telling me about the first films that she would watch in the theater there. So maybe I'll go find the theater. And then we're inaugurating a new award for my co-founder, Kurt Chandler. And this is for someone in the middle of their career, not someone at the end, and we celebrate them, which is also good. But it's someone right in the middle of their career who's really at the height of their work and appreciates different levels of storytelling, including humor. That's something that Kurt's really good at, and the impact of it. So that's we're honoring Keegan Michael Key with that one. That's the inaugural award, and he just accepted, and we did a little video with him. So we'll be presenting that on Sunday.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah,
That
you'll
must
have to
have been an
come to
amazing.
the
Yes.
Roland.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited about it. I'm so there. That's amazing. And tell me a little bit about your teaching. You said you teach at Penn State.
I do. I teach at Penn State. I teach, generally speaking, I teach screenwriting and directing, but we all kind of chip in and teach different aspects. I mean, there's certainly things I shouldn't be teaching, but if needed, I can do a little production and that kind of stuff. But mostly it's writing and directing and documentary filmmaking.
Oh, how beautiful.
I
I wish
love
I could
it.
take one of your classes. Yeah.
You can. And what's really interesting is, and very much a commitment of ours, is that we integrate students into everything that we do. So they're also on our jury. We have high school students on our jury also. They obviously, their films are being shown, and they're part of the organizing teams as well. So if you come to the festival, you'll always see a mix of different generations.
That is what I love about you and this whole thing, because that makes it so beautiful. I mean, everyone always looks. I remember when I was growing up, people looked at kids like, "Oh, you don't know anything," just.
Right.
And then it's like we're letting them speak and here to have their voices spoken, have their voices heard. And I think you making that happen is what makes you such an incredible person too.
Well, my whole team, not just me, but yes,
Yeah, your
that's
whole
the
team. Yes.
mission. That's 100% the mission of the film festival for sure. I'm so glad that you pointed that out because that's very meaningful to me as well.
Yeah, it's amazing because students need to be heard. Just because they're kids doesn't mean they don't have a voice.
Exactly. They're
Nice.
watching movies as we speak. They're going to be picking some of the winners.
Good for them. Good for them. And
Right.
I would love to hear their point of view sometime too, because again, it's very important.
Well, I'm happy to give you info if you want to talk to anyone else. If you want to speak to any of our actors coming or our accomplished filmmakers, our accomplished jury members, or the students.
Let's do it. It's on. We're doing it. I'm excited.
I know. I can't believe you're local. I love it.
Yes, we definitely have to meet up sometime soon.
Yeah. Come to the
Yes.
ribbon cutting.
Yes, absolutely. And corner room one day we have to go.
Yes.
Have you been yet? I love that place.
So were you raised here?
No, I was actually raised in New York, but I moved here when my sister went to college and then moved to Pittsburgh and then just came back.
And you
I
said your
like this
family
area.
is here?
Yeah, my mom is here. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Where in
she
New
moved
York
here.
did you live? I'm from
Uh,
Brooklyn.
okay, I lived in Queens. I was born there, and then I lived in Brewster, New York, which is about an hour and a half away.
I know where Brewster is.
Nice. And then I went to college in New Rochelle in Westchester.
Nice. Wow. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited to meet another woman inspired by film, and we'd love to get you involved in the festival.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. And congratulations to you. And where can we follow you on social media so we can continue to follow your amazing career?
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm at Palinka, which is Hungarian brandy, actually. That's Palinka, but the festival is at Center Film, and that's center like the county,
Yes.
Centre, as you
All
know.
right.
So,
Beautiful.
and I should say that a lot of this is made possible because of all these incredible sponsors here too. Like the community really wants something like this, and they're invested in helping to make it happen, which is pretty great.
Yes, there's so many good things here. I mean, State College Magazine is wonderful. And oh gosh, there's so many different places.
Wild.
Yes,
I'm
it
excited
really
that you're
is.
here.
Yeah, me too. And I can't wait to meet up soon.
Yeah, we'll see you next week at the
Yep. See you next
festival.
week. Yep. I'll
But
shoot you an
anyone
email.
anywhere in Pennsylvania can watch. It's only geo-blocked to Pennsylvania, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on the distribution needs of each film. But we, back in the day when there wasn't a term in person, when you had a film festival, you physically had to be there.
Right.
And now we have something called hybrid. So they've worked it out online with this company called Eventive and some others, how filmmakers can show work and still do something called geo-blocking and keep an area specific to who gets to see it. So it's all of Pennsylvania, not just where we are.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.